The Speediance Gym Monster has been a blast to use the last few months. While it is still really expensive, I think this should be the standard for any minimalist home gym setup. Before jumping into this review, I did receive the Speediance Gym Monster for free from Speediance themselves. So I worked with them, they sent me this product, and I get to review it for free. This is kind of a second review off the first one, as they didn't send me all the equipment in the original one, so now I have more items to test out and use and do a more in-depth review, so that's what I'm doing here. So with that, what is the Speediance Gym Monster? In short, it is a smart home gym where it can use magnetic resistance to apply tension against your muscles to cause stress and the stimulus to grow more muscle during your recovery. With this device, there is an onboard screen or computer where you can actually build out programs, do many of their programs and workouts, find exercises, and many other things to help track and progress your home fitness training. And it is a pretty small form factor where you can actually fold it up, wheel it around, and do your exercises in really any room you want. I do it in a small home office. It's just like a small bedroom I have in my house, but do know it fits into a pretty small space. Depending on the extra pieces you get, it could take up more, but the base model is pretty small in general, and then the extra bars and bench might take up just a little bit more space, but can fit pretty much anywhere. Now looking at the unboxing of the Speediance Gym Monster, for what I received, it was pretty painless. The only thing I initially had to put together was my bench. Now I don't have the adjustable one, it's just a flat bench, but I did have to build it, only took a few minutes, so that was rather simple. The hard part is that the product weighs 187 pounds, and almost all that weight is on one side in order to keep it upright and not falling over every time you want to use it. So getting that part out of the packaging was pretty tough. Also getting it to this room was a little hard, so just know you probably will need some way or a couple people to actually get it to the room you want, and then some help getting it out of the initial box. But from there, once you kind of get it in the vertical position, you can wheel it around and it's pretty easy to use after that. However, if you do get the package that has the rowing machine, that thing was a pain in the butt. I actually was recording it, but my camera died in the process because it was taking so long, more than 30 minutes essentially. So just know I did have big pain setting that up, and I don't really like the rowing machine or use it that much. So it's something I probably would avoid in a future purchase if I ever went back to actually buying this again. Now looking at the size of the product, starting with the folded size, the length of the product is 1 feet 4 inches, the width is 2 feet 4 inches, and the height is 6 feet. Now if you go and lay the platform or standing platform down on the ground, you change the length from 1 feet 2 inches to 4 feet 1 inches instead. And as a quick reminder, the product does weigh 187 pounds or 85 kilograms. So this is pretty heavy, and again does come in a giant box when you get it. Alright, now looking at the screen, we have a 21.5 inch 1080p touch screen that you can use. The touchscreen itself is only in portrait mode. You cannot change it to landscape, so it's only in that vertical or portrait display. And then you can also swivel it to face straight up towards you, so if you're looking at it, to face towards you, or if you're laying on a bench, you can turn it so that the screen is facing to you when you are laying on a bench as well. So this is kind of nice if you're doing something like bench pressing, and then you do the next exercise like standing overhead press. You can change it between the two positions depending on how you need to look at that screen. Alright, so next up is all the equipment I have. And I'm going to cover all the items that are going to be in the products you would buy now, and the ones that have replaced the old products as some have changed. So first off, we have the Speediance Gym Monster itself, the device you have to have in order to use it at all. Next up, we have a new piece of equipment called the adjustable barbell. And this is essentially a long bar that has holes in it, so you can actually change the attachment point for the cables that provide the tension and resistance. You can actually change how far out or in that cable is attached to on the bar, which is kind of nice depending on what exercise you are doing. Maybe you're doing squats where you want the cable as far away from you as possible, but maybe next up you want to do bicep curls where the attachment point is actually closer to your hands or body when doing that exercise. Next up, we have two regular handles now. So we're removing the smart handles from before, and now we just have regular handles. Now this one, again, did remove the smart feature of the button on the end, and I'll get to how that's changed with the ring that they now include. So that is what controls now the turning on and off of the device. But just know these are now just regular handles. They're okay, they're actually lighter than the other ones, but I kind of wish they had a bit more grip to them, which I'll get to in some of my cons. Next up, we have the flat bench. Now they do have an adjustable bench now, but I do not have this personally. I only have the flat bench, which works just fine for what I need. So I did have to assemble this out of the box, but you should get one or the adjustable bench in your package. Moving on, we have 2 ski handles, and these are just regular plastic handles. I do wish they had a bit more grip, but otherwise they are just normal handles you can use for the skiing exercise. Moving right along, the next item is a tricep rope, and this is one I again didn't get originally, and I've been testing out. It is kind of a little slippery, but do know you do get a tricep rope with most of the packaging. So next up is a barbell pad used for things like squats, as it's been very nice because I didn't have it originally, so now I do have one, and I'm protecting my traps and shoulders with using the nice bar pad that I have now. Moving on, we have a yoga mat. I haven't actually used this pretty much at all because I just don't ever need it and I'm on a rug right now. So you do get a yoga mat if you need it on like a wood surface, but otherwise you probably don't need it at all. The next item you get are 2 barbell hooks, and I did get this in the original packaging, but I didn't really use them in my first review and I wish I had because they have been awesome. So basically what happens is when you're done with the set, you can set up the hooks on the vertical bars so that you can put the bar on it for resting. So maybe you're doing like multiple sets, you can kind of do a set, put it on the hooks, and then rest, and then take it off, just like you would basically when racking and unracking a normal set with a barbell. You can now do that with the Speediance. No, it does also help setting up many exercises. You can put the bar in place and then just attach the cables that won't pull it out of that because there's not enough tension at that point to pull it off those hooks. Moving on, we have ankle straps. Now, they only sent me 1 strap, which was a mistake, but I really don't use ankle straps anyway, so I don't really care. But do know you should get 2 ankle straps with your order. Our second to last item is going to be the biggest change to this product, and that is going to be the ring you get. Now, the ring itself is used to do 2 functions. One is turn on and off the resistance of the device, so it's a safety feature in case you get stuck when doing an exercise. And secondly, it can change the resistance or tension that the cables are providing by turning it clockwise or counterclockwise. And this ring is meant to replace both the smart barbell and smart handles. So that's why they're just regular handles now. So basically, you don't need as much equipment or safety features. Of course, those other things did have batteries as well, and now you don't need that as you have a chargeable ring that allows you to do all those features in one device. And my last item is the rowing bench. And again, this thing took me forever to set up. I don't really use it, and I really just don't care for it. It's okay if you want to do rowing or have it as an item, go ahead. But really for me, it just takes up more room in my space I'm trying to work out in. And I like to keep things usually clear when I'm not working out. So to me, it was kind of something I wish I didn't get. But do know if you want it and you like rowing, it is an option in some of the packages. So that is all the equipment. Now that we have it out of the way, let's go over how you would set up and do an actual workout with this device. So in order to use this, first off, you will need to plug the Speediance into the wall to provide power to the device. It does not have any kind of onboard power. You do need some kind of wall outlet in order to provide that power for the Speediance. Next up, there is an on and off switch on the back. Make sure you turn it on in order to get the device up and running. The third thing I would do is lower the standing platform. So on the bottom right hand side, there's a button that you press in, and that will unlock the platform from being in the vertical position. You can then use your hands to lower it to the ground nice and safely. And then once you've done that, there are 2 locks on either side. You kind of lock that standing platform in place in order to keep everything nice and stable when you're using it. From there, you'll need to position where the cables will be needed. So depending on the first exercise of your workout, you can either have the cable attachments on the platform where there's only one option, so it's right in the middle of that platform, or you can set it on the vertical bars where you have 9 different options or 9 different height options. And again, it will depend on what exercise you're doing to which one you want to choose to do that exercise. From there, you're going to attach whatever equipment you need to the cable. So whether that be the barbell or the handles, you need to attach whatever that is to the Speediance. And at this point, you are pretty much good to go. So again, you would now pick the workout that you're doing and jump right into it with that first exercise. So sometimes you might need to actually bring up the workout first to kind of know which cable positioning you need, but from there, you are able to just go ahead and use the device. So with that, let's take a look at some of the items you should be aware of for the Speediance itself. So the first one is that the Speediance Gym Monster only provides 220 pounds of resistance. However, for me personally, going from gyms to this device, it feels a lot harder than most barbell free weights that I've used in the past. I can barely do 100 pounds on this thing, where I used to be able to bench over 225 pounds. So you can see there's a huge difference there, like double, over double the resistance for what I can do with normal barbell setup for doing bench pressing. With this, I can only do like 100 pounds, so I'm halfway to maxing it. Also, those vertical bars have 9 different positions you can anchor the cable to. So just know, depending on what exercise is chosen, you have 9 different items within that 6 feet of the vertical bars. And lastly, for the platform, you only have that one location. So you are stuck with just one place, but just whatever you do, you just put it in there, and then you can stand, put a bench on it to lay down on, or whatever, and use that location to then do all of those exercises. So next up are 4 different resistance options you have when doing free lifts only. So this is not with a regular exercise or regular workout. This is only available in free lift as of shooting this video, but this could change in the future. The first resistance type is the standard, and this is where it just provides whatever weight is on screen, the constant tension the entire time. So just know this is the mode that's used in all regular workouts on the device, but if you're in free lift, you do have a few more options. So next up is chains. Now I don't really ever use this, but if you want the feeling of chains on the barbell that you're using or whatever, you can set this option in the free lift mode. The third option is eccentric, and this is where you have essentially no resistance in the concentric or shortening portion of the lift, so something where you're like lifting the bar during a barbell curl, and where you have all the resistance when you're doing the eccentric or lengthening the muscle, or the negative, basically where you're lowering the bar to the ground. And the fourth option is constant, where you have a maintained resistance throughout the entire range of motion for that exercise. Very similar to the standard mode. So remember, these 4 are only available in the free lift mode. They're not in the workout programs, or if you just do an exercise on the machine, this will not be an option. It's only if you're just doing a free lift itself. All right, so next up we're going into one of my favorite features, and that is the spotter mode, and there are 3 different options. The first option for spotter is that there is no spotter to help you, and this is basically just where there's always tension on the bar throughout the entire set, depending on how many reps you're looking to achieve. So if you pick this option, make sure you can actually complete all of the reps, or you have a way to turn off that resistance using the ring. You can press the screen, or maybe in the future, voice activation. The next option is spotter 1, and this is where the resistance will reduce in the middle of the range of motion. So not if you stop at the top or bottom, but only in the middle. Basically, if you get stuck, say you're doing like a bicep curl and you get stuck halfway, if you hold it for a second or so, the resistance will drop off until you're able to draw that cable, or basically pull the cable again or release it again. So just know this is something to help you out if you get stuck in the mid-range of the motion. And lastly is spotter number 2, and this is the one I personally use every single time I do a workout. And this is where the resistance will be reduced no matter where you are in the entire rep for that exercise. So if you're at the top or bottom, if you're within the middle of it, no matter what, if you get stuck and you're not able to draw that cable anymore, the resistance will die off until you are able to move that cable or draw that cable again. And I highly recommend everyone at least pick spotter 1 or 2, especially just starting out and using the device. I almost got stuck under the bar the very first time I used it because I forgot to turn it on. It is in the settings once you start an actual workout or exercise, so make sure you turn it on so that you don't get hurt. But also know, if you do have that ring on, this will save you again if you don't have the spotter on. So make sure you have that on as a last safety measure. So the next thing, I'm going to combine 2 pieces in one, and that is the Speediance app with the screen and what you can see on both of those. So with the Speediance app, this basically lets you build out and look at different exercises, programs, workouts, your own stats. You can go in and like update things there for yourself. So it kind of houses all of the general things you're looking to do in your next workout. So for me, I like to build custom workouts with my membership. So I go in there if I want to change weights, you can do it right from the app. And when I get onto the Speediance, it'll be imported as long as I have Wi-Fi connected to the Speediance. It'll update it right into the onboard computer so that I can just select it and go from there. So again, that's pretty much it with the Speediance app. It just allows you to kind of build out everything and view everything. But if you want to actually perform the workouts, you will need to have it on the Speediance itself. So the Speediance screen is what actually controls all of the resistance being applied and all of that stuff. You do not use your phone in any way to actually perform the workouts. The Speediance computer that's on it does all of that for you. Now, Speediance did just come out with the Gym Pal, which appears to be different in that you do use your phone, but just know for me right now, the Speediance Gym Monster, you do need the actual screen that comes with it. But with that, some things will be locked behind a membership. I'll actually put on screen what the free versus a membership is right now. But as of shooting this video today, if you bought the Speediance right now, you would actually get a lifetime membership. So for this review copy, they actually did give me a lifetime membership, so I did not have to pay for that. But if you do miss that window, so in the future, if you're looking at this and you see they no longer offer it, I believe it will be $30 a month, but do know that could change in the future depending on what they choose. I kind of hope they just remove the thing altogether and just keep the lifetime membership, as I'm not a big membership guy, but do know as of right now, it's a free lifetime membership, but this could go away in the future to where I believe it will be about $30 per month. So with that, it's time for our pros and cons list with the Speediance Gym Monster, starting off with the pros. So my big pro for this, and why I actually had it saved before ever speaking with Speediance to look into for the future, is that it has both the nice standing platform as well as vertical bars, and comes in a very compact size. So because you can fold up the platform, it makes it so you can easily just push it into a wall when you're not using it, getting it out of the way. I was also trying to put it in my closet, but unfortunately my closets that I have here aren't really made for something like that, so it doesn't fit right now, which is a bummer to me and one of my cons, technically a pet peeve of mine. But do know you can fold it to a pretty small size for the normal device. Now everything else that comes with it, like the rowing platform, or rowing bench, and a regular bench itself would take up more room depending on which package you go with, which to me again is a little annoying just because it takes up more space. My next pro is that it provides 220 pounds of resistance. Now again, it doesn't sound like a lot, but it's much harder than standard free weights from my testing. Again, I've been able to bench over 225 pounds. I used to be able to, I actually still can, curl 50 pounds or more, but I cannot with this device. Like I can barely do like 40-pound curls with this system. So again, it just feels a lot harder with this electromagnetic resistance than regular free weights, which is pretty nice when I use it. My next pro is a major reason why I really love this Speediance. It would be hard for me to pick something else with this kind of cable setup, and that is how easy it is to move from the platform to the vertical bars with the anchor points the cables use. All you do is you press just a button on the top of the anchor point, you just slide it out, and then you put it on the vertical bar anchor point. So again, it takes a few seconds to do this, and I think it is one of the crowning achievements of this product in terms of ease of use and getting to setting up exercises very, very quickly, which is always a huge plus in my book. Moving on, we have the spotter modes. Now, while I wish there was a real fail mode, the spotter is an okay substitution. Now, I do, again, use the spotter 2 for mine, so anytime I can't draw the cable in any part of the lift itself, it will assist by reducing the resistance until I can draw that cable again. So it basically provides like a mini drop sets while I'm just doing it. But do know, I highly recommend having a spotter on, and I think this is a really cool feature. I do hope they add more fail modes though in the future. So along with the spotter mode, another safety feature is the new ring that does replace all of the smart accessories from before. So this has been really cool as it's made it so you actually cut down some of the bars and handles you're using from before, and you can just have regular ones now. However, there was a bit of a learning curve as it feels awkward at first to put on your finger and work out with, and you might accidentally bump into things, activating the resistance, even at rest. Even if you're in a rest period and it's counting, if you bump anything, it will turn on the resistance, so please watch out for that. But otherwise, it's provided a safer way, I think, to turn on and off the resistance if you do get stuck or forget to turn the spotter mode on, which has happened to me before. So I think the ring has been a good improvement, but again, there is a bit of a learning curve in order to get used to it in your first couple workouts. And also, there's no more batteries that were in the old safety options. Now you just have the ring, which is rechargeable. And my last pro is make sure you're using the barbell hooks. Again, I wasn't using this initially, and that was really, really dumb. I now use the barbell hooks anytime I take out the barbell and use it at all. You just place them on the vertical bars, and then it helps you basically just set up, and also during like set breaks, you can have it just resting there just like you would with any other barbell for like a gym setup. Alright, and now my cons for the Speediance Gym Monster. I'm going to lead off with safety. Now, it has been improved, I think, with the ring, but I'm still looking for things like voice activation, as well as options to save the spotter each time so you don't have to go into settings every single workout you do and turn it on. I don't know why there's no just like save this in the settings to have it on always so it doesn't matter if you forget or not. So there are some things I'd like them to continue looking into improving the safety with this, but I do think the ring and spotter modes have provided a lot of peace of mind when I use it now. My next con is that there are custom clips for attaching the handles or bars to the cable system itself. So I don't like this. I wish I could kind of pick it and choose my own. The main reason is because I think the handles themselves are way too slippery. So this is a con of mine. They're just like kind of like a plasticky handle that you hold on to that it does rotate, which is nice, but they're just too slippery. Like if I get really sweaty, I can't really even hold on to them anymore. This is very apparent when using these ski handles. I can barely hold on to those things at all. Because it's a cardio-based equipment, I get pretty sweaty when doing it, but that makes it so I can barely hold on to these things because, again, they're just like a plastic with no grip at all on them. So maybe I have to put like tape on them, but for me right now, I just use my Undersun gloves so that I have some grip when actually using these things. So I would hope that they, in the future, allow you some way to either buy those clips and attach to regular handles, or just get rid of that altogether so you can use your own. And kind of along that point, the tricep rope I got is also very hard to hold. It's very, very slippery. I don't remember it being that hard to do it when I had them in a gym, since I haven't used one since then. But again, I can barely hold onto this thing. It's like the rope just has like a very slick like paint over it, which makes it hard to hold. And then the bottom piece that's supposed to like prevent your hands from going off the end is also really slippery. So the whole thing to me is just kind of annoying to use in general. So again, using gloves helps a bit, but bare hands, like sweaty bare hands, it's really, really hard to hold this thing, especially if you're using a lot of resistance on the device. Moving on, the device is heavy to move around. Now again, this is 187 pounds. So even wheeling it around can be kind of an issue. It's better once you get it kind of set up and you can wheel it, but getting it out of the box, moving it around the house, if it's really far and you can't use the wheels, is a chore. And again, all the weight is on one side, and that's the side that kind of sits on the ground, so that, again, it makes it so it doesn't fall over, but also makes it very hard to move around your house if you need to. So it is something to look into if you're going to be moving it around all the time. So next up we have the cost, and then of course it's going to come up because this is one of the most expensive pieces of equipment that is out there that I own today. Again, I got it all for free, which is awesome, but I know for those watching this and looking into potentially buying it, it is thousands and thousands of dollars. I personally had it on a waiting list for a potential future thing until I got the review option because I didn't have the money at the time to spend on something like this. So I know it is tough to put this much money into a device. So if you do, make sure you have the funds up front to pay for it. I don't want anyone going into debt or having a hard time afterwards paying off the device if you go and get it. There are other options than this, so make sure you really want something like this if you are going to put that much money down on it. My next con is that you are locked into a certain width when using this device. So meaning that the platform is a certain width as well as the vertical bars. So if you want to do something like sumo squats, so me being 5'11", sumo squats, my feet would be completely off the standing platform, which would make it unusable because it would probably flip the platform over using the way I do. Same with the vertical bars. They're locked into a certain width, so if you're trying to do something like cable flies, you're not really coming from out on the sides of you, it's more like behind your back and coming up around your shoulders. So things like that are not great with this device. I do all of my like chest work with like pressing based motions, and then I just do standard squats and deadlifts so that my feet stay on the platform, but do know it is a limitation if you're looking to do those exercises. Alright, we're coming up close to the end of this list. So my next con is that some standard exercises are missing from the exercise library. Now with the membership, I think it's only the membership, you can actually build out custom exercises. Now it doesn't have anything on screen or whatnot, but you can actually build them out and have them saved in your workout to then see on screen. You could also do a free lift as well, as the only thing that matters when it's counting reps is that the cable moves a certain distance. But just know some exercises like calf raises and shrugs are still not added in at this time. I hope they do in the future. And the main reason I believe that they're not in this, and I don't know for sure, but this is my guess, is that you can't draw the cable enough to get a rep to count. So something like calf raises, it's not a very big movement. Same with shrugs, it's not a huge movement where the cable travels very far. So I just don't think the device can pick up that rep was completed, and I think that's why they're missing. So I hope they do change that. For me with like calf raises, I kind of do like a mini squat into a calf raise to make it so that the cable is drawn enough to get the rep to count. So you might have to do something like that if you find you have an exercise that doesn't have a large range of motion to go through. And my last con is just a pet peeve of mine, and that is that it doesn't fit in any of my current closets. Now, if I lived in my previous apartment from now, it actually would fit in that very easily, but the closets I have just don't really accommodate what this thing is. So again, just a pet peeve of mine, not that big an issue. It probably fits in your closet, but again, this is just a personal thing I have when it comes to home gym equipment. Alright, so we are reaching the end of this video, but I wanted to give my final thoughts and really go over who should look into buying something like this. So first off, you have to have the money. I don't, again, want you spending a ton of money on something you're not going to use or you don't think you'll like in the end. So make sure if you're going to buy this, that you're going to use it regularly, be consistent with it, and not have it just become a really expensive coat rack in your house. Next up, I'm not sure if I would get this without a free membership or a paid membership. If you have the money for paid membership, fine. But without that membership, you do lose some of the features like the custom workouts. So again, this could change where they change up how the membership work and change what's in it. But as of right now, you actually wouldn't be able to build those custom workouts themselves. And that's all I use. I don't follow any of their actual programs. I've looked through them and stuff, but I personally have all mine built out for the week. So I do love having that. But without the membership, I'm not sure if this would be worth it for me. Yes, I could do something like a free lift and use the app like Heavy to track everything, but why pay thousands of dollars for that? I feel like that's kind of just a waste. I wish they would just provide you, again, like maybe there's classes and stuff for the membership version, but have like free programs and stuff for those that just want to pay the couple thousand and have everything available to them after that. But for me personally, I really did like this device when I first saw it, mainly for the reason that it's very compact. You can fold it up, make it really small, and it has the vertical pulling option. So again, that was a huge plus for me after trying the Vitruvian and not having that there. Now again, I think they could add a bit more resistance in future models, but for the average person, the 220 pounds of resistance is going to be more than enough for, again, the average gym goer or someone just looking to stay fit at home. I don't think you need much more than that. So yes, more resistance would be nice to have, but it's not required in my opinion. So all this thing considered, first off, make sure you have the kind of money, make sure it fits the workouts you like to do and the programming you like to do. If there's a model that has everything you would like, go with that version. But again, do not go poor buying something like this. And I think you'll enjoy this if you do have the money to spend. Again, right now, as I've shown this video, you get a lifetime membership with your purchase, and you can use code GamerBody to save $150 off your order, which I do get some kickback on that, helping to grow and make videos on this channel better into the future. So with that, I'm going to leave links to my first review if you want to check that one out, and also another video I did on updates to the software I would like to see in the future that I think would make the Speediance Gym Monster even better.